Hold up, everyone. Today I wish to give you a tutorial on what I call grounding your astrology chart. Grounding the chart. By grounding, I mean looking at how to read the chart, blank on the screen here, looking just at the houses. So the houses are basically 12 slices of pie. You see here numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 12. Each of these pizza slices, we can call them, are a house. A house deals with something in the physical world that's going to manifest in your life. It's the slices of the 12 results of your life, the 12 actions of your life. So the first house here are the results you have on your body and self-esteem. The second house is the results you have on your family and finance. The third house is on your desires and your early learning and communication skills. The fourth house shows the results you're going to get with your mother, your home life, and education. The fifth house deals with the results you're going to get with your lovers, with your leadership, and with your artistic expression. The sixth house reveals the results you're going to get in terms of health, hygiene, diet, and the destruction of your enemies. The seventh house deals with the love results you'll get in relationships, in business contracts, and in somewhat the arts. The eighth house are the results you're going to get with facing your fears, with other people's resources, the results you'll get with inheritances, and the results you'll get with the use of magical powers. The ninth house is the results you'll get from your higher education, from your teachers, from your spiritual leaders, and from your religion and travels, abroad travels. The 10th house shows the results you should expect from your career, your status in the world, and your position at work. The 11th house shows the results you should expect from groups, from organizations, from the supreme being, and from windfalls of money and the fulfillment of your biggest dreams and desires. And the 12th slice of this pizza shows the results to expect from ailments, from confinement, from religion, raising of consciousness, and the bindings of the subconscious mind, how the subconscious can wrap you up despite your intent. So it's a model of psychology where these colored areas, the signs, Aries the ram, Taurus the bull, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. These colored parts are the signs which tell us your psychological needs, your psychological longings, and the houses, the white slices, tell us the results you're going to get in terms of those needs, how those needs will manifest and show up in your life. You see, we view astrology primarily as a tool of psychology, of self-knowledge. What the modern people call psychology, the ancients called your spirit or your spirituality. And here your spirits divide into 12 layers. So for mental health, for emotional health, and I mean this literally, if you are in the mental health care profession, the astrology model is the most comprehensive model I've ever seen. Better than Freud, better than Jung, better than Maslow, better than Dr. Spock. It really does reveal the workings of the subconscious mind and of mental, emotional, and psychological health. So, this 12 slice pizza of your subconscious mind says you have to get 12 results in your life that you like. No matter who you are, no matter what your station in life, how rich or poor you are, tall or short, no matter what your race, gender, whatever. We all have these universal 12 areas of life that if we fail in them, we will feel something missing. We will feel incomplete. So let's say you have all of these slices of life doing well, except the seventh one, your love life. You could have the second house as money flowing. You could have a lot of self-esteem. You could have the fifth house as fame, the fourth house of great family, great career in the 10th. Your dreams come true in 11th. You have a sense of your spiritual life in the 12th. You can go on and on. But with all those blessings, one is sorely missing, your love life. Or you may have love and health and leadership and happiness here in the fourth house, but you're missing money. So you see, the house that is missing in our lives yells, it screams. It's like the unresolved chord. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. You're waiting for the note, right? It's hovering and haunting you. So that's how it feels. Do. That's the note you want to hear. Unless it resolves, it becomes you forget the other beautiful harmonics of the scale. All your mind remembers is the one note that was never finished. That's how the subconscious works. Whichever house or houses are not resulting in things you like seem the loudest to you. We become obsessed about fulfilling that need. So, one can read the chart, and I find it best to read the chart, really, from the grounding level of reading. That means look at the chart with nothing in it except the houses and the signs. That will tell you volumes of how the person generally orients himself or herself to life's results. This is key. For example, let's say we click and make this rising sign. Number one is always what's called the rising sign or the first house. That sets the tone for the other ones. It's like the core, the scale that we're going to play the other notes in. So here we have in the scale of Aries, the scale of the Ram. Let's say I click the wheel so that this green becomes number one and this red becomes 12. I'm just going to click it clockwise one tick. You see here? There we go. Now we have the bull rising. Okay? So, what you want to do is realize that all humans with the bull rising, all of you, would have this, what's called the overlay, where you're going to have the bull on the first, the twins on the second, the beetle of Cancer on the third, the lion on the fourth, the wheat virgin on the fifth, scales on the sixth, scorpion 7, archer Sagittarius on the 8th, goatfish on the 9th, water bearer on the 10th, fish on the 11th, and ram on the 12th. All humans with the bull rising will have this sequencing, meaning not your sun sign being in the bull. Note I'm saying that the first house, if it's the bull, will have this sequence, and all such people on the planet Earth from the past who are now living and who shall be in the future born with Taurus rising, the bull rising, will have this overlay. This means that the people who have the bull rising have a very strong affinity to approaching all 12 areas of life in a very similar manner. This is more comprehensive than saying that all people with the sun in Taurus, where your sun sign's in the bull can be on any one of these 12 slices, but your sun may just be in that bull. It could be in the bull in the 5th here, or the bull could be on the 8th here, sun sign, bull in the 10th, you see? But if we analyze people who all have the bull rising, their wheels match. So they'll approach money in a Gemini way. All bulls will do this. All bulls will approach home life in a Leo way. All bulls will approach relationships in a scorpionic way. You see? So that unites bull rising people, and that's why in our system, when we say you are from the kingdom of so-and-so, I'm referring to the rising sign. And that kingdom becomes your land. And everyone who has the bull rising, they're from the same kingdom, we say. Okay? Now, a few details about house dynamics. Houses are broken into 12 slices, as I mentioned, but in fact, it's a bit not what it appears to be. It's really 6 houses, but each house has 2 poles. It's 6 axes with a left and a right for each, or top and a bottom for each. So all you do is you put your finger on a number and you add the number 6 to get the opposite. So 1 plus 6 is 7. Therefore, these two are opposite. 1 and 7 are opposite. 2 plus 6 is 8. Therefore, 2 and 8 are opposite. 3 plus 6 is 9. Therefore, 3 and 9 are opposite. They form one axis. 4 plus 6 is 10. Therefore, 4 and 10 form one axis. 5 plus 6 is 11. Therefore, 5 and 11 form one axis. And finally, 6 plus 6 is 12. And that forms an axis between 6 and 12. So we have axes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Now, these axes are very important because they link. They're like 2 halves of a seesaw. You can't have one without the other. So, let's see, let's go back, make the ram. This is called the natural sequence, where the ram is the first and the fish are the 12th. This first axis, this 1, 7 axis, is the axis of relationship. The first half of this axis, house number 1, is your relationship to yourself, relationship to me. The 7th is my relationship to thee, to myself and to someone else, how I relate to myself and how I relate to my mate. The second axis, which is the 2-8 axis, is what's called the resources axis. The second house refers to my resources, your personal resources, the things of value that you have and that you feel, and the 8th house are the resources of others. Inheritances, your mate's property, etc. So we have the relationship axis, 1, 7, the resources axis, 2, 8. My resources, our resources. The 3, 9 axis is the knowledge axis, where the 3rd is more like data, details, knowledge about details, and the 9th is more like wisdom or knowledge of wholes, knowledge of systems. So 3 is more knowledge of parts, 9 is knowledge of wholes. 3 is knowledge of gears, and 9 would be knowledge of the entire machine. 3 is information, 9 is philosophy. Okay? Then we have the 4th axis, which is called the nurturing axis. The nurturing axis in 4's side means how I nurture myself and my inner personal needs. My family, my heart, my desires. The 10th is how I nurture society through my work, how I nurture my community, how I nurture myself through what I give to the world as work. The 5th and 11th houses, which form the eternity axis. The eternity axis, or the immortality axis. The fifth house is how I want to be immortal, be known for what I have done and what I have accomplished personally. And the 11th is how I want my group to live forever, how I want my community to go on, my culture to go on, my people to go on and endure through eternity. And finally, the 6-12 axis, where the 6-12 axis is called the service axis, where 6 is how can I be of service personally to someone? What can I do to make a difference? How can I fix something for someone? Whereas the 12th is how can I be of service to the universe, to a cause, something not quite so personal? How can I be of service to something really beyond me, not close to me? So we have the axis of relationship, 1 and 7, the 1-7 axis. The 2-8 axis is the axis of resources. 3-9 is knowledge. 4 is nurturing. 5 is immortality. And 6 is service. Okay? So what you can do is when we click and change the rising sign, the seed position, or the ascendant, let's put it here where the fish are rising. You see the whole sequence just moved one Monopoly board motion. Now we have the fish and the wheat on the relationship axis. We have the ram of Aries and Libra on the resources axis. We now have the bull and the scorpion on the knowledge axis, the twins and the archer on the nurturing axis. We have the beetle of Cancer and the goatfish of Capricorn on the immortality axis. And we have the Leo and water bearer on the service axis. Okay, let's click a few more. Let's just try something. Let's just click until we stop. Okay, let's try this one. Here we have the lion on the relationship axis with the water bearer. We have the wheat of Virgo and the fish of Pisces on the resources axis. We have the scales of Libra and the ram of Aries on the knowledge axis. We have Scorpion and the bull on the nurturing axis. We have the archer and the twins on the immortality or eternity axis. And we have the goldfish and the beetle on the service axis. So you see by clicking the seed position called the ascendant or the seed position, we're changing what signs are controlling what axes. Okay? That much, just learning that much, you can get volumes of information about all people, past, present, and future, who have the lion rising. They will all have the same signs on the same axes, therefore approaching the 12 areas of life in the same manner. Okay? Let's take this one for example. So let's do on the relationship axis, how do Leo people, the lion people, deal with relationships to themselves? The first house is how I relate to myself. Well, they do it in a very bombastic, bold, self-centered manner. They relate to themselves in a very prideful or proud, bombastic manner. How do they approach relationships? In a rather Aquarian way. They approach relationships in a very distant, unique, nonconformist manner. This would be a general trend among all people with the lion rising. Okay, how does the lion kingdom deal with the resource axis? Well, when it comes to their resources, the second house, they have a Virgonian approach to money. Nitpicking, fastidious, detailed. They view money as a way to defeat enemies. They view money as a way to fix problems. Their money. How do they handle other people's money? Well, they're not very concerned about that. They will spend it. They think it grows on trees. They think that other people's money was meant to be given to them, and that others should lose their money in their honor. How do the Lion Kingdom people approach knowledge? Well, the way they approach details is in a very Libran fashion. They like to weigh out details. They like to see how well details harmonize together. They like to see the details in how you relate to them. They're very good at body language and reading small cues of body language. How do they handle their own personal opinions? Third house is like your opinions. They think their opinions are beautiful, that their opinions are works of art. How do they handle your opinions? The ninth house would be other people's points of view, other philosophies. They will view them as contentious with theirs. They will tend to go to war against them if they're not like theirs. Or they will view higher knowledge as a source of competition or a source to prove that you're winning. So their religion must win. Their philosophy must win. They're quite competitive when it comes to religious beliefs, religious thoughts. They're quite bold and direct about all that. The fourth house of nurturing, how they nurture themselves and that which belongs to them. When it comes to nurturing themselves, they nurture in a scorpionic manner. Their nurturing, what nurtures them, is often getting dirt on people. What makes them feel secure is when they can get information on you, spy on you. They also are nurtured by occult teachings, by deep spiritual techniques and hidden powers. The more hidden information they have, the more hidden power they have, the more they feel protected and nurtured and mothered. They could have problems with the home life here, where they treat people in the home with manipulation and mind games. How do they nurture the world, society, in a bull-Taurian manner? They, at work, like to be the most glamorous person at work, the most accomplished person at work, the most solid, reliable person at work. They want to create in society stability that's luxurious. They want to create things in the world that are valued by the society, very highly valued. How do the Lion Kingdom people approach immortality? Well, for their immortality, they want to be known far and wide, on all four corners of the earth. They want to be known for being generous and expanding of your mind, inspirational. For their group, for their cause, they want their cause to be known for being exacting, for being clear, for having a clear vision, for being flexible, and for giving people education. They want their group to always have access to greater knowledge, greater learning, greater intellectual resources. And the way they approach the service axis of how can they be of service on a more personal level with those people in their immediate environment versus at service for the universe, they approach being of service on a more local level in a Capricornian manner. They feel that when you're of service, you must have a clear goal. It must be recognized, must be acknowledged by others as having been well executed, successful, and well planned. Service must get the result. It must not fail. That when they go to fix something, it must not fail. They must get it right. In terms of being of service to the universe or to the divine or to the transcendent, they feel that the way to serve the universe, serve the transcendent realm, is by feeding the world, by mothering humanity, by showing that they are nurturers, and by the tenderness and caring they give to the world at large or to their cause. You see? So that gives you a sense of how this is how all people with the line rising approach things. We could click and do more. We could click, let's try anyone. Let's try the Scorpion rising. On the self relationship axis, how do they deal with themselves? Intensely. The way they see themselves is in a very intense and inscrutable manner. And others, they view others as resources to be used. They view others as bringing stability, stabilized pleasure. How do the Scorpion Kingdom Scorpions deal with their resources? Well, they are very generous with their resources and oftentimes a bit delusional, meaning they're not really being practical about their resources. Other people's resources, they think, can be irksome, bring too many problems, a lot of complications, and that they can view other people's resources as toys to play with. How do they view knowledge? Well, for their own knowledge, they're very focused. They think knowledge is serious, that knowledge is power, that information gives you status and control. And for more religious knowledge and philosophical knowledge, they feel that it should be inclusive. They feel that philosophies should nurture people, should make them feel like they're part of something like a family. How do they deal with nurturing? Well, they don't nurture very intimately. They're kind of distant. They nurture by teaching the people they're closest to the value of nurturing versus actually giving them nurturing. It's a kind of distant nurturing where you're going to learn the lesson. Even if I have to be stoic and kind of cold, you will learn the lesson. And they nurture themselves that way too. They nurture themselves by not always being in touch with their real emotions. They feel that protects them from harm and danger. How do they nurture society through their careers? By being very successful, by being the number one, by being the star of the show at their work or job. How do the Scorpion Kingdom people deal with their immortality? Well, they feel that if they were able to enlighten people, if they were able to overcome loss, overcome tragedy, and win, that makes them immortal. How well they were able to survive and thrive through a challenge or something that would bind them is how they like to be known throughout history. And how they want their group to be known is for being very productive. They want their groups to be known that we got things done, we attained financial and economic power, we were able to handle our enemies well, able to fend off problems well, and to make sure that everyone is healthy. And finally, how do the Scorpion Kingdom people deal with the service axis? Well, for personal service, meaning fixing things among those people in their near environment, they want to be quick. They want the solution to be quick, effective, and exacting. They will be straightforward about the answer, tell you exactly what has to be done, and expect you to do it right away with no complaints and no delays. And in terms of service to humanity, service to the universe, they feel that if we can bring beauty to the world, art to the world, if we can bring love into the world, if we can help people get along better to the world, this is how they want to be known for having contributed to the universe. So this is a little touch of how we look at houses without any planets, how you can read anyone's general tendencies in 12 areas by the overlay of their seed or rising sign. Once you learn the basic rules, you just click the wheel around and it becomes the same rules with slight differences, like a fractal. I want to mention one last thing about the houses. The houses break into types of energy. So what's called the cardinal houses, which are 1, 4, 7, and 10, they're called angular or cardinal. 2, 5, 8, and 11 are called fixed houses or succeedent houses. And 3, 6, 9, and 12 are called mutable or cadent houses. Those are fancy words. All they mean is this. The cardinal houses, 1, 4, 7, 10, the angles that make the cross, those are houses that are effective when you work for yourself. Those houses do best when they focus on themselves, not other people. Okay? The fixed houses work 50% for yourself and 50% for others. Okay? That, for example, if you happen to have planets in the 2, 5, 8, or 11 houses, those houses prefer to succeed by doing half for themselves and half for other people. The cadent houses like to get results for others, not for itself. If you try to get results more for yourself in 3, 6, 9, or 12, you have a lot of problems. This is beautiful because it's balanced. The cardinal houses 1, 4, 7, 10 tell you it's okay in life to go for yourself first. Go for yourself first. Take care of yourself first. It's written in this psychological model. Those of you who are in the healthcare professions, I am certain you have had to tell your clients, you must understand you have the right for angular houses, parts of your life that demand you take care of yourself first. Put your oxygen mask on first when the airplane goes down before you put it on the person next to you. So 1/3 of life is taking care of yourself first. The next third of life is taking care of yourself half the time and others half the time, doing both. That's houses 2, 5, 8, and 11. And then the cadent houses, 3, 6, 9, and 12, say now it's time to learn to take care of other people and not deal with yourself too much. Don't think about yourself now. This is what I mean by this is the most powerful model for mental health, emotional health, psychiatry, psychology, counseling, spiritual coaching, whatever you want to call it. If you use the geometry of this wheel, and this wheel I'll talk about later on in some other video, is packed with sacred geometry, the Fibonacci sequence, the phi ratio generates this wheel. It's not just some wheel drawn by some person being cute. There's a lot of math, and I mean sacred mathematics, sacred geometry behind this circle. It will teach you so much about life because it's drawn from a Fibonacci spiral, which is the growth of life. So it's telling you the rules to grow through life. 1/3 of the time, take care of yourself first and foremost, and leave others in the dust. The other third of life, take care of yourself half the time and others half the time. The other third of life, forget about yourself, take care of others. There's a time for each of these, and you must be skilled at all 3 of those distinctions in order for you to have a well-grounded life in all 12 groundings called the houses. So, I pray you enjoy this brief tutorial on houses. We covered the seed rising sign, always number 1, sets the sequence of all the houses. We saw there are 12 slices of life, 12 pizza pies of life, and the houses represent the results you're getting in the 12 areas of life that we all have a longing to fulfill, that the areas that we don't fulfill scream at us like a note that didn't finish. We learned that there are 12 slices but 6 axes. We learned their names of the 6 axes, which is relationship axis, resource axis, knowledge axis, nurturing axis, immortality axis, and service axis. And we learned that if you click the colors to overlay particular numbered houses, it tells you how people with that rising sign, no matter past, present, or future, they all will approach life with a similar grounding, a similar perspective. And we learned finally, there's a time to be all about you and leave everyone else out of the picture. Don't worry about them. You do you. Then there's a time to do you, and then to take care of others too at the same time. And then there's a time for you to forget about yourself and look after others, like during tragedies, for example. Oftentimes, when there's a flooding or someone's in danger, you will put yourself in harm's way to save someone. That's the 3, 6, 9, 12 energies in you. There are other times you'll think it through first and then do it. That's the 2, 5, 8, and 11 dynamics in your subconscious. And sometimes you'll say, you're on your own. Good luck with that. If you're sinking, I can't swim. Good luck with that. You see? So everything has its time and place. And this is the beauty of psychological astrology, divine mind psychology through astrology. So I pray you did enjoy this. And for more information, do join our chakra initiation classes. I'll put a link below. You can go to our link below and sign up. They're very cost effective. They are a very cost effective investment in your personal power. And I go through more of these things in detail to those that enroll in the chakra membership training. So be well. Always look up, because remember, you are a star. Dwawend Hotepu.